Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice will be coming to VR on HTC Vive and Oculus Rift on July the 31st. Now this isn't just an add-on or some DLC, this is the full Hellblade game as a standalone VR experience. And it's completely free if you own or buy Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice on Steam. We recommend a minimum of an NVIDIA GTX 1080 graphics card, and in this update we'll tell you how the VR SKU came to be. We received our first VR kits very early on in development when we were creating the vertical slice for Hellblade. The team were curious to see what a cutscene would look like in VR. We all agreed that it was cool to be immersed in the scene, but the motion of the camera made the experience quite nauseating.
Could we preserve film grammar without making you feel ill in VR? Could you pan, tilt, dolly and cut without feeling queasy? And so we tried it out. We tried each one of those camera motions in VR to find what the limits were. And we arrived at a concrete set of rules that seemed to be okay for most people we tried this on in the studio.
By this time we'd created our GDC 2016 scene. We adapted the cutscene using our new set of rules for VR and released a 360 video on Facebook, Oculus and YouTube so that everyone could experience it in VR.
That there is nothing to go back to at all.
It was received really well, so we went ahead and applied these rules to nearly all of the scenes in Hellblade. Some of the scenes work better in 2D for technical or for dramatic reasons.
Another major challenge early on was how do you do free roaming third-person movements in VR, because at the time most games were sticking to first-person teleportation movement, which wouldn't have been Hellblade. So we ruled out first person, we ruled out teleportation and said let's come up with some ideas, and we did, and we prototyped these ideas. And out of a dozen or so prototypes we came up with one that sort of stuck as interesting. And this was to use Senua as a frame of reference for movement, so you didn't feel too queasy moving forwards and backwards, but then to use head steering to control her turning. Obviously you can't turn your head 360 degrees, so we employed another trick, which was to gently rotate the world back round as you were turning, such that you wouldn't really notice, and that way you had full 360 movement controls.
Encouraged by these experiments, a tiny team continued to solve VR issues alongside the main Hellblade development. Over the months we found solutions for traversal, puzzles and combat.
But the biggest challenge facing us by far was frame rate, because if we couldn't run at 90 frames a second on a very well-spec'd PC for VR, this project didn't have a chance to see the light of day. We optimized the art, shaders, characters, landscapes, post-processing effects, anything we could to get us to 90 frames a second, including switching to a forward renderer. And we got there, but it took 2 years of hard effort. But it was worth it, because the optimizations we did to the VR version of Hellblade also benefited the non-VR version, which is why Hellblade looks so good and runs so well on reasonably spec PCs and consoles.
Why did we do this? Well, there was never really a good business case for Hellblade VR. We did it out of curiosity and out of the desire to find out more about VR, and because we thought that the final experience would be something cool for our fans. And that's why we're giving it away for free, so that as many people can experience it as possible.
Oh my god.
With Hellblade and with our future games from now on, our philosophy for development has changed. It's more about following your nose, being curious and really trying to acquire new knowledge and new expertise, because we truly do believe that exploring new paths opens new opportunities to really find innovation and those new experiences. So stay tuned.